Let's get started here then. So welcome, the essential first 3 steps to starting every successful business. This is part of the Small Business Academy, and I am Frances Shogin. Let's see now, what did I do? Oh, there we go. So why you should listen to me. I'm going to give you a quick background on me. Not because I particularly like talking about myself. I don't. But I want you to be really clear about how I got to the place where I'm telling you some things that other people are not telling you, and I'm actually telling you not to do things that other people are telling you to do. So you need to know why I'm doing that and where I'm coming from that. I'm a serial entrepreneur, and I've been basically doing that most of my life. One of the businesses I had was Crystal Clear Bookkeeping Limited, and I ran that for 15 years, which gave me the privilege of diving into hundreds of small businesses. And over that time, I also worked with small business support organizations to help their entrepreneurs and to do training. And I also got training myself in how to do training and counseling and support for small business. So I actually have sort of like a 360-degree view of it. I'm an entrepreneur. I work closely with entrepreneurs, and I also work for entrepreneurial support organizations. Welcome. We're getting going here. So maybe you could just put into the chat box just a little bit about yourself, your business, and why you're here. I'm just going to keep moving here. So welcome. We're talking about why you should listen to me. So working with these thousands of small business owners, I found some that were absolutely thriving and then some that were struggling for decades. I do have that longitudinal picture. So what I did is I studied those who were thriving, and I studied those who were struggling to find out the difference. And what I found is that the people who were thriving were ignoring all of the advice of that we were giving them as business support people, and the people who were struggling were trying to do what we told them to do. So I had to figure that out, and what I did is I uncovered what they were doing, codified it, and wrote it up as the Small Business Operating System. Now, that's how to operate a business, but how do you get there? And especially, how do you get there when you're hearing from other people that you should be following a certain a path that we all know means that 90% of businesses fail, and we don't want that. So I uncovered and unpacked what it means to start a business and build a business. I got to see businesses through their whole lifespan. So I know what it means to make a certain decision at the beginning and how that's going to play out over the life of the business. I've seen how that works. And I also have worked with business owners who were in that starting phase. And it's an incredibly overwhelming time, mostly because you are told that you have to know everything. You have to write out your business plan before you start. And the thing is, you don't have enough information at the beginning in order to be able to do that. So all you're doing is guessing. And then you're running a plan that's not been tested, that's not been proven, that you don't even know will work. So that's where I came up with the 6 stages of building your effortless business. It took a little bit of time to realize that it's not just about starting a business, but it's about building a business and then taking the business all the way to the point where it's wildly profitable and it's effortless. And I know it works because I've seen it work. So that's why you should listen to me, is because I have talked to so many people about this. So we've got some more people joining. Please enter into the chat box who you are and what your business is, and um, what you really want to get out of this. We are going to get a little more interactive as we go, because I don't want to be a talking head. You don't want to hear a talking head. That's not much fun. So please let me know who you are and what you want. All right. So here's what I know about small business. It can be hell, or it can enable your amazing life. It can be overwhelming. It can literally ruin your life. It can take your health. I've seen it kill people. It can certainly take away your family. And that's not what business is supposed to be like. There's nothing anywhere that says business is supposed to suck the life out of you. People will tell you that. They'll tell you that in order to be successful in business, you have to give your life to it, at least for the short term. And of course, the short term is never as short as they say it is, because it just ends up being forever. And that's not sustainable. Business isn't a sprint, it's a marathon. So what life can be like, and this is what I mean when I talked about the business owners who are wildly successful, and I studied them, is their businesses were easy. And that's where the title of my first book came from, is Your Effortless Business. I could see how their businesses were effortless. Now, when I say effortless, I don't mean they didn't put effort in. What I mean is they got results. They got multiple results for the efforts that they put in. One of the things that the business owners who were struggling were not getting the results for the efforts they were putting in. They were getting less results than effort. You know what I mean? Like, so if you're spending $100 and you're only making 90, not working. But if you're spending 100 and you're making 150, that's how business is supposed to be. It's supposed to be effortless in that way, in the way I just described. Your business should work with your strengths, with the way you work. I've seen people start businesses, oh my gosh, people who love to be with people have started businesses where they work alone most of the time. They were like mental health issues. This is where it comes from. Or people who were extreme introverts and they had started businesses where they were forced to be in front of people on a regular basis. So they were constantly drawing down their energy and not building in that time to replenish and refresh themselves. Or people who were wildly creative and they start businesses where they end up doing rote work, sucking the life again, the creative life out of them. The business that works for you works the way you work, works from your strengths. You feel like you're challenged, but not to the point where you feel like you're inadequate. Your ideal business just pushes you enough that you're continually growing, but not to the point where you're stressed unhealthily. Like, some stress is natural and it's good. Excessive stress is literally what's killing our society. Killing the people in our society, not society. There are other things killing our society, but that's what's killing the people in our society is this unnatural and unhealthy stress. So our businesses should be supporting our lives. We shouldn't be living our lives in order to run our businesses. So our businesses shouldn't be running us. We need to be running our businesses. Let's see. So the gotchas, I'm going to share this with you so you can see what's going on. I've should be it. So the gotchas in building a business. Building a business you hate. I worked with some business owners who built businesses they hated, and it got to the point where like they didn't even want to go to work anymore. The business just spirals down into a terrible place, and it ends up not just fizzling out, but imploding because you're not delivering, and that leads to problems of people's expectations, and it's a very bad thing to do. And that can be a business you hate because of timing. You're having to spend time in your business. That's the wrong time, like night owls having to get up early or larks having to work late. Doesn't work. Or people who really believe in having time on their own with their family, and their business won't let them do that. Or building a business where you're with people, engaging with people in a way that's not natural or healthy or enjoyable for you. Either spending time with people that you don't like or in a way that you don't like. As I talked earlier about introverts and extroverts. Building a business with that doesn't give you the opportunity to be creative, to learn, to expand your mind. Businesses that are struggling financially. The main reasons, there are two main reasons for that, and you can see them there. Pricing and value, not getting that right. Never be the low cost option in your industry. Always provide more value and price appropriately for that. That is the biggest mistake that small business owners make, and certainly at the beginning, is not pricing appropriately, thinking that what you have to do is price lower in order to get into the market, and then you'll raise your price. And what happens is you attract the people who are only attracted to price, so you never get good customers. And when people come to you, regardless of what price they pay, they expect to get their solution. They expect to get what you're selling them. And you're selling them a solution to a problem that they have. So you end up doing the work or not doing the work, and they resent you, or you doing the work and you resent them. You can't give the value that's going to make people happy unless you are paid appropriately in order to do that, because you need the time and the space and the resources in order to do that properly. So pricing and value. The other thing that happens of struggling financially is not building a team around you. And team in a really loose sense of the word. I had a business, my mother worked in it for a while. I didn't pay her. She wanted to learn some things about business, and she got other resources. So I've always had that idea of being able to draw people in and make it worth their while, make it worth my while, so that I would have the support to be able to do the work that was going to provide the value, that was going to then get the price that made the revenue and make everything work. If you don't do those things, you will struggle financially. You can't get to the point of saying, because people will do this for the short term, saying that once they reach a certain point, then they'll switch things over, then they'll hire the team, then they'll put the prices up, then they'll put systems in place to make it all work. But what happens is you never get there unless you start doing that from the beginning. So from the very beginning, you have to be doing these things. Living to work, not working to live. This is that busyness of business where you're working on tactics and without a strategy. Tactics without a strategy is just busyness. You're not moving forward. You're not getting where you need to go. You have to have an overall strategy. You have to know where you're going. what you're trying to do, what you're trying to accomplish in order before you decide on the tactics. So, taking a social media 101 course on Facebook without understanding why you're using Facebook and what you expect to get out of it and how it fits into your overall customer engagement strategy doesn't make sense. And then, there's the overwhelm that comes from not being clear on your path, thinking that you have to do everything all at once. You don't. You have to. There's a very clear order of things to do that will get you from beginning to the end. The end point being your effortless business. And then fear is this huge piece that people rarely talk about. That does keep us small. Excuse me, that keeps us small and keeps us working harder than we need to, because we'll do everything else rather than the work that we have to do. I know there have been times in my life where my house has been sparkling clean because I'm not doing the work that I need to be doing. Sorry. See, this is like my fear is coming in here a little bit, talking about this stuff. But, I'm going to work right through it. Not making the impact you want, and that's because of focusing on the wrong things, focusing on the busyness of business, on the I call it the MBA model, the business of business rather than people. When you focus on people and you call your customers anything other than customers, such as they were always my business owners. They were my posse, my business owners that looked to me for the help that I could give them. Different organizations, different businesses sometimes call their customers, Lady Gaga calls them the beasts. Focusing on your people and treating them like people rather than customers. Focusing on tactics or I was just part of a Twitter chat. They were talking about getting in front of your customer, and it's like what you really want to do is have a conversation with people who potentially need what you offer and need what you can do to help them. And the other thing that happens is people wait until they make it in order to be able to have an impact. So you're very internally focused on your business rather than being externally focused on your people, your community. The wider your view, the more likely you are to get where you want to go. It's just how it works. Okay. So the owner's journey, everything starts with you. There are 3 people in your business. There's you, your customer, and your team. We're not going to get into all of that with this, the first 3 steps, but we are going to focus. Number 1 step is the owner's journey. So your business is here in order to give you what you want. So understanding what it is you want is the first step in being able to understand how your business can give you that. So I love to travel. So I designed my businesses, most of the businesses I've had, I've designed them in a way that I can travel. I also love to learn. That's one of my values. So all of my businesses are designed so that I'm constantly learning. I also have 4 kids. They're grown now, but I had my bookkeeping business while I had them and as they were young kids. And so I designed my business in a way that I could spend the time with my kids when I wanted to and in the way I wanted to. So it starts from understanding, having a very clear understanding of what is essential to you to have your perfect day. So what I'm going to ask you to do, because I need another drink of water here, I'm going to ask you to write down what are the essential pieces that you need to have in order to make your perfect day. So, I mean, that's everything from what time do you wake up in the morning and how. I have a joke I tell. Um, do you know what my alarm clock sounds like? And most people will answer no. And I say, yeah, neither do I. I the only time I ever use my alarm clock is if I have a flight, an early morning flight, and I don't want to miss it. How do you spend your day? What work are you doing? What are you doing physically? Who are you spending your time with? What's the timing like in your day? When do you begin? When do you end? Um, what are some essential things that you need to have in your day? I'm going to give you a couple of minutes just to do that while I slip over there and grab a glass of water. I'll be right back. All right. So, have you written down a couple things? Great. Okay, just pop them into the chat box and let's have a see what's important to you. So in the Small Business Academy, which is the online academy that I have, where I'm actually teaching the 6 stages. Well, teach it so much as work with you on your business to take you through those 6 stages. And the way that works is I have a series of projects that you work on. So you get the project guides. And one of the things that you get as you're working through the project guides are examples of how other people have built their perfect businesses. So people have built businesses in like every way imaginable. Think about something as you know, simple and straightforward as a cafe, and how different they are, and everything from like sort of the food truck cafe to you know, somebody at events selling coffee from an urn, or you know, a high-end cafe with white tables and silver service and china. You've got cafes that open early in the morning, that are open 24 hours, that are only open in evenings and do art and entertainment, or more like a salon type of thing. So there's so many different ways that you can set it up. So it's really helpful to find out those examples from other businesses that will help expand your mind in how you can do it. So once you're clear on what you need in your business, and sort of like the what your business is going to be like for you, because you build your business for you, you make your offer for your customers, right? So your business has to work for you. You will then attract the customers who want to work in the business the way you have it. So, you know, go back to the cafe example. If the difference between having an early morning cafe and sort of an evening salon type cafe, you would attract the people who are looking for that. So then the choice of that is yours. Now they offer maybe the entertainment in the salon, or the type of food that would go with the coffee first thing in the morning. Those are things that you get from your customers. And when you're building your business, you have your idea. You want to open a cafe, or you want to start a bookkeeping business, or you want to do coaching, or whatever it is you want to do. You have an idea of what that's going to be like. And so this is where we veer a little bit from a lot of the advice that you're getting, because what you're being told is that you need an avatar. Now, what an avatar is big business takes hundreds of thousands or millions of data points and sifts them until specific attributes of people start coming to the top. This is data. It's not something made up. So when people are telling you to make up an avatar, you can make your avatar do anything you want, which means it's not useful for you. And it actually may end up taking you off in a direction that doesn't make sense. Because I'll tell you, everybody's avatar is Susie, the mother of two, who drives a van. Her kids are in soccer. She reads high-end magazine in your industry, whatever that industry is. She cares about whatever you care about. You know what I mean? Like, and it might not be Susie the homemaker. It could be, Tom, the young 20-something, or George, who's ready to retire, or Gladys, who has just turned 50. Her kids are grown, and now she's, not helpful. What you really need to do is have real people as your avatar, which means they're not actually avatars. They are people who are representative of your customers. So before you have customers, you still start with real people. You start with the people who you think will be the perfect customer for you. They may be or may not, and the only way you're going to know that is to talk to them. So here's what you do. Write a list of 20 people who you think will be the perfect customer for you. And then contact these people. Meet them for coffee or whatever, phone call, email exchange, Zoom meeting, whatever works for the two of you. And this is a discovery meeting. So you set the meeting up as, I'm thinking of doing this business. I'd really like your feedback. I think it's something that you would like. Can we meet? And then take them through what you're thinking. You're going to stumble the first little while. You're not going to be very clear. And they'll feed back to you what they're hearing. You've also got to stop talking. You've got to ask them questions like, you want to probe into how they frame the problem that you're solving. Your business is solving the problem. So how do they frame the problem? What's going on in their lives that they need a coach? How do they feel about bookkeeping? What's important to them? Why do they want to work with you? Why do they want to work with you or somebody like you? And find out what is really important to them about the solution. So in bookkeeping, one of the things I found is that different people have different ideas of what done means. So to a lot of my customers, done meant that their taxes were paid, or at least filed, or at least figured out. To me, done was when everything was reconciled, and then I could just pop the numbers into the tax things and away it went. But also some of my customers, I wanted to sit down and go over their numbers. And to them, it was just, no, just do my taxes. So you really have to work with your customers to find out what's important to them about your solution to the problem that they have. How do they define done? What would thrill them about that? So this discovery dance, you will know that you're getting there when people start saying, yeah, that's what I want. Can we start working together now, please? So, and then you keep going until you have a few of those. Your first customers will come from you talking to people. They won't come from your website. They're not going to come from marketing, because you can't do marketing until you've done sales. Because until you've done sales, you don't know what's going to work for people. Got it? So take a few minutes right now and write a list of 20 people who you think will be your perfect customer. This is where I need some of that do music. It's funny, it's hard to sit here and not talk. All right, I'm going to keep going. You can pause the video, or carry on with this later. But the point is to get those first 20 people. Now, they don't have to be people that you know directly. They could be friends of friends, but get those first 20 people and talk to them. This is how you're going to find out who your best customers are. You're going to find out what's important to them. And this is how you test your offer and your pricing. You can't sell something unless you've tested it and know that people are going to buy it. Don't bother selling something that nobody wants to buy. Then the third step is the official start. So a lot of times people will try, like the name is almost one of the first things people work on. You may find, one of the things that will really help is to talk to your customers before you figure out your name. You don't need a name to start talking to people. Your name should really, really talk about the benefit that you're offering. And you don't really know what that is until you talk to your customers and you're really clear on what it is that they see as the benefit. Your name will also be better suited if you're really clear on who your customers are, and so that you're using language that they resonate with. So try not to choose your name until after you've made your first few sales. And making sales can come in a lot of different ways. They can be like almost pre-sales. So you could, between the time of making the sale and delivering and getting paid, you can start your business. If there's it can be, a stretch of time. Or you could do like pop-up things where you do some sales and then do the official start. But it doesn't make sense to start your business until you've proven your concept, until you know that it's working. Because like I say, I've started 15 businesses. Well, I've registered more than that. And, because I didn't follow this way back when. So the name comes. You also, these days, you need to work on your name at the same time as finding what's available as an URL. It's just, that's a reality of today. Having that URL, having the URL for your business, the web address for your business, as close to your name as possible is really important. It can be your name. Type of business, we're in Canada, so there's like sole proprietorship / partnership. or legally incorporated business. And then you can be incorporated federally or provincially. Um, then do you register your business in your province? This is a regulation. It's not a law. You don't have to, but you are barred from certain programs. Like you can't access programs within your province unless you're registered in that province. This is when you work on your legal requirements, finding out what's required in your industry. So, for instance, in bookkeeping, there are certain things that a bookkeeper cannot do if they're not a CPA. There's an awful lot we can do. But being really clear on that so that you understand where you stand with that, your legal requirements. This is where like the health comes in, where, the fire exits, and, if you have an actual place. Insurance, understand what's important around insurance and get appropriate help with that. And then the financial management piece, which is your accounting, your cash flow management, your banking, making sure it's easy for people to pay you, and to have money flow through your business in a way that makes sense. So this is what happens in this third stage of the official start. This is a first pass through all that stuff. Like now, you want to get your legal requirements, pretty much done at this point, and your insurance, and your sort of accounting set up in a way that makes sense. You're gonna, in the sixth stage of the 6 stages, you go through all of this with a fine-tooth comb and really make it work well and put all the systems in place. At this point, you just want to get it done before you move on to the next 2 stages, before that final 6th stage. So business plan. Now everybody, if you've gone to a business support organization and said, I would like to start a business, please, they will give you a business plan template, or they'll steer you to a business plan template and say, write your business plan. And in your business plan, you're going to talk about what you're selling, what your offer is, how many you're going to sell, who your market is, who your customer is. You're going to come up with your marketing plan. None of this, you can't do any of this until you've made sales. Now, some people, the main reason to do a business plan these days is to get finance. You'll hear that trite aphorism of failure to plan is planning to fail. This doesn't mean that a business plan is the only way to plan your business. Following the 6 stages is a business plan. It's a way to plan your business. It's a plan for starting your business. Because it's an outline and because it takes you through everything you need to do. So let's talk a little bit about funding then. How do we put this as wide as possible, because there's so many different kinds of businesses. Every single business, and I can't think of a single one where you can't make sales before you've actually got up and running. So if you're selling furniture, let's put something like that, you can sell from a catalog, and then either get it built or manufactured or delivered or whatever you have to do after the fact. Zappos, when they started, what they did is they put pictures of shoes from the local shoe store online, and sold that way. And every time they sold a pair, they would run to the store, buy them, package them up in the Zappos boxes, and ship them out. They lost money on every pair, but what they really wanted to do was test the market before they needed funding in a big way. So, I mean, that you can start a business like that with a credit card. And the thing is, when you go for funding, if you have proven sales, if you have signed contracts or you have sales, you can say, on Zappos, and yeah, we sold 100 boots over X time, and now we would like to do this ourselves. You're in a much better place to negotiate terms that are way more favorable. You're not going to get, well, I can't say you're not going to get, getting a bank loan for an untried business without sales is really difficult. And they're going to charge an arm and a leg for your interest in the terms, and they're going to ask you to put up equity or put up some sort of capital. But if you can go to them with sales, it changes it. Now you're looking at a line of credit, or you're just looking at it in a totally different way. You may also find that you could bootstrap it. You don't need to get funding in order to do it. So don't write your business plan until after you've made sales. Don't try to get funding until you've proven your concept with sales. And by the time you get to that point, you may not need a business plan. Now, having said that, in the sixth stage, one of the pieces is a strategic plan, which is a different beast altogether, and which is makes much more sense in moving you forward to the goals and the outcomes that you want in your business. So, business plan, why you don't need one? The main reason is until you've made sales, you don't even have enough information to write a proper business plan. And by that time, you might not need it. So let's just like toss that one out with the avatar. So this is one of the things I learned with the bookkeeping. All businesses are the same, and all businesses are unique. And that's why this framework that I've developed works so well. All businesses are the same in that it's about buy low, sell high. It's about solving a problem in a way that delights your customer. It's about taking your strengths or something, your knowledge or something, and giving it to somebody who really needs it and values it and will pay you for it. All businesses are unique in that every cafe is different, unless it's a franchise. But even there's some differences because each business owner is different, even though they're following the system. Between this idea of everybody is unique, and so they bring their own strengths and uniqueness and onlyness to the business. The people they attract are their own tribe. The way it's delivered, the variables, when you line all of this all up, the number of variables just is astronomical. So effectively, all businesses are unique. At certain levels, they're, like I say, at certain levels, they're all the same. And then at other levels, it kind of expands it almost like roots or trees or something as you go to these different levels. So what that means is there are certain things that all businesses need, but they need it in a framework that allows them to bring their uniqueness and their onlyness and to really embody that. And that's the whole joy and pride and wonderfulness of the Small Business Academy and the series of the 6 stages and the series of projects. They give you the pieces that are the same while allowing you to be unique. So all of this sounds very simple, and I'm sure you're saying, I can do this, but it's not easy. There are gotchas all the way through. There are shortcuts. There's certainly resources and tools that will help you. Sometimes it's as simple as needing to ask our fundamental question: how do I do this? You can be stuck for a very long time without having that one little piece of information you need. And that's where the Small Business Academy comes in. So we've got I'm starting up the 1, 2, 3, Go program. It's 6 weeks. We're starting on Monday, October 22nd. And what you're going to get is those first 3 stages. We're going to go through those over the 6 weeks. So we'll help you. The projects will guide you through the deep work of understanding what you need in your business and turning that into actual business practices or business structure, so that, it's one thing to say, I love to travel, but how do you build that into your business? Or, I need to be around people. How do you build that into your business? So we take you through all of that. The discovery dance, yeah, go interview 20 people, but there are scripts that make it more effective. There are pieces of information that you need to pull out, and you don't want to get into the 18th interview and realize, well, shoot, I needed to be asking this all the way along. So there's a lot to this, and I can help you with it. And in so it's 6 weeks. You get project guides for each of the steps. There's weekly office hours on Zoom, which is this platform right here. So every week we get together at the same time. You can ask whatever you want to ask. There's also a full year in the online community for help and support. So the Zoom is the symmetrical time, and the online community is the asymmetrical. So you can post on there over the next 24 hours or whatever. People will answer. They may answer right away. They may answer in a little while. With Zoom, it's a conversation immediately. Over the years, I have amassed a treasure vault of curated tools, resources, hints, hacks, tips, and templates. Everything you need. All the tactics are easy. It's the strategy, it's the framework, it's the step-by-step of how to get from here to there. That is the hard part. Trust that I will find you what you need when you need it. But the strategy is what's important. That's the thing. The other thing, and then finally, connections. I know a lot of people, and I can connect you with a lot of people. Not everybody, obviously, but I'm a connector, so I can connect you with a lot of people. So all of this, 349 Canadians, 6 weeks, and a full year in the Small Business Academy. I will be taking other groups. I'll be doing this program again. So you'll get to go through it at least one more time. I may segregate groups after that. We'll see what works best. The Small Business Academy right now is $349 US for a year. The platform is done up in US dollars, and that's where I am with that. Recognize that meeting with me is I charge $250 for that. So what's it going to mean to you to get your first customers within the next 6 weeks? That's what's going to happen, because you're going to do that discovery dance and you're going to get your first customers. And I will be there with you and help you do that. So you can go here and register. Registration closes Sunday evening, on October 21st at midnight in Eastern Standard Time. That's where we all are in Toronto. And that's what it takes. Now, like I said, it sounds simple. You figure out what you want in your business, in life, and how your business can do it. You talk to a bunch of people until you figured it out, and then you go follow the prescribed steps to start. Yeah, that's really simple, but there are so many ways that can kind of go wrong for you. So that's why this kind of thing is so helpful. Now, I mean, I alluded to it earlier. It usually takes people months to start a business. partly because they get stuck on the whole business plan thing, trying to figure it out without having the information, partly because it's a lot of uncertainty, fear, um, self-consciousness, um, other voices, either voices in your head, and I don't mean, but we all have those voices in our head, or the people around us. If people around you haven't started a business, they will tell you all kinds of stuff about what it takes and what's important and why you should not be doing it without having any real knowledge about what that's like. You pretty much, it's really, really difficult to do this on your own. You have to have other people around you who are on the same journey. You don't have to go through it this way, but this is a huge piece for you. A huge piece of why this is important for you. If you choose not to go through this, and then, do gather a few other people around you who are on the same journey and sort of in the same space, same sort of place of the journey. It's really important to have other people around that you can talk to. I do like coaching, consulting, and that's the biggest piece of the work that I do. I mean, we do brainstorming, and we do strategic work, and we do all of that stuff. And I feed them the tools and everything in for the tactical work that needs to be done. But the biggest part of the work that I do is working through the head game, the mind space, all of that piece. That's the tough part, and that's why this is so important for you. And just yeah, we'll leave it at that. So, what will it mean to you to be able to shorten that length of time? To be able to have someone like me with the experience that I have, that you can ask me a question at any time. I'll answer it as soon as I can. What will it mean to you to have a cohort of other small business owners who will be able to commiserate with you, give you some strong and realistic feedback, who will be able to hug you when you need it, kick you in the pants when you need it, call you out when you need it, and agree with you when you need it? What will it mean to you to get your first customers within the next 6 weeks? This program will get you going. You'll know at all times what you should be working on. You'll know at all times what it's going to take to complete the project that you're working on, and why it's important, how it's going to feed into the next projects, and what you needed from the previous projects in order to keep you moving forward. You will never be at a point where you're saying, I don't know what to do next. You'll always be moving forward, getting the information that you need through testing. You're working with data, not guessing, and knowing exactly what you need to do in order to get you to those first customers and to get your business started and up and running. So there's the website. Go there, you can buy it. We're in Canada. You could also email me the money, and there's some information there. Let's get you up and running. Let's